just when the world thought it had Kim Kardashian figured out, she unleashed a transformation so visually jarring, so psychologically profound, that it sent shockwaves through the very fabric of pop culture. For years, we've watched her meticulously craft and demolish her own image. She's been a reality TV princess, a high-fashion muse, a tech mogul, and a controversial revivalist of Hollywood legends. But her latest reinvention wasn't about a new brand or a new romance. This time, in a move that felt both inevitable and utterly unthinkable, she stepped out of the shadows and transformed into the very architect of her own fame, her mother, Kris Jenner. The scene was set amidst the electric, high-stakes chaos of Paris Fashion Week. All eyes were on the entrance to the Maison Margiela show, a brand known for its deconstructed, avant-garde take on identity. The air crackled with anticipation as a black car pulled to the curb. But the woman who emerged was a phantom, a familiar ghost in a new machine. The long, flowing dark hair, a signature that had defined her for a generation, was gone. In its place was a severe jet-black pixie cut, styled in a wet, almost predatory sheen. The short, choppy layers framed a face that suddenly looked sharper, harder, and uncannily familiar. Dressed in an oversized gray trench coat that swallowed her famous curves and armed with thigh-high leather boots, Kim Kardashian had vanished. In her place stood a chillingly perfect echo of Kris Jenner. It was a declaration of war on her own past, and the opening shot was fired. Before the first model even hit the runway, the internet had detonated. The images from Paris didn't just leak, they flooded every corner of the digital world. Within minutes, the side-by-side comparisons began to circulate, morphing from a curious observation into a full-blown cultural phenomenon. Social media timelines became a dizzying collage of Kim and Kris, their faces juxtaposed in thousands of memes and think pieces. The verdict was swift and brutal. Kim had finally collected the last infinity stone of the Kardashian empire. The conversation wasn't about the Margiela collection anymore. It was about the shocking metamorphosis of a global icon. This wasn't just a new look. It was the final stage of an evolution that had been happening in plain sight for years. But Kim Kardashian is the master of her own narrative, a grand puppeteer in the theater of celebrity. As the world spun out of control with theories and hot takes, she made a silent, calculated move. She logged onto Instagram and posted a single, breathtakingly stark photograph of her new persona. The image was a high-fashion portrait, moody and severe, her eyes gazing directly into the camera with an unnerving intensity. The caption was a masterstroke of minimalist branding, just 2 words, Paris Pixie. In that instant, she seized control. This wasn't a breakdown, not a desperate plea for attention, not a daughter accidentally morphing into her mother. It was art, it was intention, it was a chic, powerful statement delivered on her terms, silencing the noise and reframing the entire event as a deliberate act of high-concept performance. The rest of the Jenner clan, a finely tuned orchestra of public relations, quickly played their part. Their reactions weren't just supportive, they were strategic, designed to amplify the narrative Kim had just created. KHLOE, often the family's emotional barometer, was the first to publicly christen the new identity. "Oak, baby KJ," she commented, a playful but powerful confirmation that the resemblance was not only real but embraced. It was an anointment. But the ultimate seal of approval came from the original herself, Kris Jenner. She didn't need words. Instead, she responded with an iconic meme of herself from the archives of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, cool, composed, and untouchable behind a pair of dark sunglasses. It was a silent, magnificent checkmate. The message was clear. She wasn't just aware of the coup, she was in on it. To the casual observer, this might seem like a sudden, erratic decision. But for those who have studied the Book of Kim, this was simply the next logical chapter. Her entire career has been a series of calculated deaths and rebirths. We saw her shed the skin of her early reality TV persona to become the high-fashion darling of Kanye West's world, draped in Givenchy and Balmain. We watched her strip away all color and glamour for her minimalist, beige-toned Skims era, rebranding herself as a serious, untouchable businesswoman. Each transformation was a deliberate shedding of the past, a way to level up in the public consciousness. This pixie cut, however, is the final boss of all transformations. It's not just a new look. It's the adoption of a new identity entirely, a visual merger with the source of all her power. The question that hung in the air was deafening. Was this a heartfelt tribute or a cold, strategic power play? The Kris Jenner pixie cut is not just a hairstyle, it is a uniform. It represents a specific ruthless brand of female authority. It is the signature of the momager, the matriarch who took a family and forged it into a billion-dollar global dynasty through sheer force of will. By adopting this sacred symbol, Kim is sending a message that is impossible to ignore. She is signaling to the world, and perhaps even to her own family, that she is no longer content to be the star player. She is coming for the throne. She is ready to run the entire game. This visual coup d'etat perfectly mirrors Kim's professional trajectory. Her journey from reality star to business titan has been nothing short of meteoric. Skims, her shapewear and loungewear brand, is valued in the billions, disrupting an entire industry. SKKN, her skincare line, has established her as a serious player in the luxury beauty space. She has meticulously followed the blueprint her mother laid out, but with a modern global ambition that has arguably surpassed the original. Now, with this final visual step, she is merging her corporate identity with her physical one. It is a visual coronation, a self-anointing of the next queen of the Kardashian empire. This is not the first time Kim has been caught raiding her mother's playbook. Over the years, a pattern of subtle imitation has been quietly unfolding. Fans have noted the moments when Kim has adopted Kris's exact style of oversized sunglasses, her affinity for a sharp power suit, or even her specific way of holding a wine glass in moments of on-screen drama. But these were mere whispers, faint echoes of the original. The pixie cut is a deafening roar. It's the ultimate act of aesthetic appropriation. A move so bold it feels like the final chapter of a long, psychological thriller where the student has finally and completely become the master. It's a well-worn cliche that a woman who cuts her hair is about to change her life. But for a woman like Kim Kardashian, the stakes are infinitely higher. She is a person living under a microscope, navigating the pressures of global fame, a contentious divorce, and the relentless task of raising 4 children in the public eye. This haircut is more than a cry for change. It is the forging of new armor. It's a hardened exterior for a woman who has decided to become impenetrable. She is shedding the last vestiges of vulnerability and stepping into a role that demands a harder, more strategic edge. It's the visual manifestation of her evolution from a personality into pure, unadulterated power. The global reaction was a perfect storm of adoration and revulsion. The highest echelons of the fashion world immediately showered the move with praise, calling it an audacious act of performance art and a masterful commentary on celebrity and lineage. But outside the fashion bubble, a significant portion of the public was deeply unsettled. Comment sections exploded with visceral reactions, with many calling the look creepy, unsettling, and the end stage of Kardashian narcissism. The world was divided. Was this an empowering act of a woman claiming her power by honoring her mother? Or was it the bizarre final act in a psychological hall of mirrors? The choice of venue remains one of the most brilliant, unspoken parts of this saga. Maison Margiela is a house built on the idea of deconstruction, of questioning authenticity, and of challenging the very notion of a singular identity. It is a brand that has, at times, sent models down the runway with their faces completely obscured. For Kim Kardashian, a woman whose entire life blurs the line between the real and the performed, debuting this identity-scrambling look at a Margiela show was a moment of pure meta-genius. It was a wink to the world, a subtle acknowledgement that she understands the game better than anyone else. She wasn't just attending a fashion show, she was putting on one of her own. Ultimately, every thread of this story weaves together to form a single dramatic tapestry, the future of the Kardashian dynasty. Kris Jenner, the brilliant strategist who started it all, is a force of nature, but she is not immortal. The empire needs a successor, a new leader to guide it into its next generation. With this move, Kim has officially and irrevocably submitted her application for the job. She has the business empire, she has the global influence, and now she has the look. She is positioning herself not just as the family's biggest asset, but as its future CEO. This is the dawn of the second chapter of the Kardashian saga, and Kim is firmly in the director's chair. In the end, Kim Kardashian did not just get a haircut in Paris. She unveiled her final form. The Paris pixie was not a whim. It was a coronation. It was a perfectly executed move in a lifelong game of power, legacy, and image. And it leaves us all with a single chilling question. Was this the ultimate tribute to the woman who created her? Or was it the final, ruthless act of a daughter ready to take her mother's place at the head of the table? With Kim Kardashian, the thrilling, terrifying truth is that it might just be both.